and welcome to the Capitol. We are here, as we are each week, with Representative Mike Thompson from your home district. Mike, thanks for taking your time to talk with us today.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
We have a lot of topics to talk about, and you particularly interested for your district about something that transpired last week in the prisoners, the terrorists, the Guantanamo Bay issue.
Absolutely. We wanted to send a very clear message to Washington, D.C. that here in Oklahoma, we don't want known terrorists being housed. And we wanted to make sure that message was loud and clear. It overwhelmingly passed the House of Representatives, and we hope that our friends in Washington, D.C. will remember to keep those terrorists off of American soil, and especially out of the state of Oklahoma.
And talking about that, there's a process in which bills have to go through. They go through committee, they go through a House floor, they go through different processes, and all of us are good to know the different process. But this was a little different. This was not a bill. This was what's called, I believe, a resolution. Talk a little bit about that, Mike.
What a resolution is it doesn't have the power of law, but it sends a very clear message. Whenever the legislature wants to express any type of concerns, then they have the ability to pass a resolution and send it to either the president, to the U.S. Senate, the U.S. House, even to another state. But they use that as a means to say, well, this is the mood, this is the feeling of what is going on amongst the elected officials in Oklahoma.
And so that is typically a voice for all of us. And as we talk with our elected officials, they start to understand, if I may, the street level voice of actually what's happening. Because up here, you can kind of be caught in the Capitol essence, can't you?
You know, absolutely. I'm one of the blessed legislators that get to go home every night, so I get a dose of reality every night that I go home. But sometimes, this dome gets very hot. It gets full of a lot of hot air. And so this is a good perspective on keeping us down to earth and grounded with what our constituents need and want us to do.
Talk a little bit about that. Of course, you're right here from Oklahoma City. There are some pressing issues, too, that we'll talk about today that are really important in your district. Talk your heart a little bit, Mike.
Absolutely. Well, I know one big issue, and that whenever I knocked on everyone's door, I think this came up maybe 80% of the time, and that was curbing the amount of abortions in the state of Oklahoma. This year, the abortion bill, which I'm going to co-author, has legislation to ensure that we don't do sex selection abortions. And then also it has a reporting mechanism where folks who do perform abortions have to, we don't take any of their personal information, but we get the statistics on why and what reasons led them to do so. So we can learn more about this issue here in Oklahoma.
Always learning more each time this issue comes up in legislature. I never had heard before of a partial birth abortion, and this time I've never even heard of a sex selection, almost like, well, if it's not what I want, we'll just send it back.
Exactly, and actually they don't send it back, they terminate it, and that's one of the problems that we have. So if a doctor who performs these abortions knows that a person is wanting to have an abortion based on sex selection, that will be outlawed.
Oh, wow. That's, I think, the heart of Oklahoma is to try to reduce the number of infant deaths, such as abortion, all across the state. So that's a great measure. Talk a little bit about something else.
Well, I tell you, one of the biggest issues facing the Capitol and obviously the district is what's going to happen with Oklahoma's budget. As you know, our budget's having a $900 million shortfall, and quite frankly, we're going to have to get out our carving knife and start chopping off parts of government that probably should have been chopped off for the last 3 or 4 years. Okay. And I'm looking forward to taking this opportunity to make government leaner and meaner. We've also got a number of bills out there that are going to look at some agency consolidation, how agencies can share resources. We need to get leaner and meaner and more efficient here in Oklahoma.
And $900 million. That sounds like my budget short. No. But
I wish you had those types of problems. Yeah. That may have been Boone Pickens' shortfall.
But talking about that, the last number I had heard was like 450, 600, but it steadily climbs as a shortfall. Why is that?
Well, there's a number of reasons. Our income sales tax revenue has dropped off, but gross production tax, which is the third largest contributor to the state coffers, has dramatically dropped off. We've seen over 44 rigs over the last 6 months go down. And with that, natural gas is based on price, and what type of revenue we get is on that price. So we need to make sure that that industry is able to help pick itself back up and have reasonable prices to start help sustaining us.
So over the next few months, we may have a shortfall. We already are approaching $1 billion. We may be over $1 billion. The legislators need all the help and all the response that they can get from you, the people, on ideas how we can overcome this, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, and I've gotten a lot of creative ideas and emails here recently from many of my constituents, and keep them coming, because we do have to shore up a fall here in the state budget, but I don't think it's time to tap into the rainy day fund. I think we need to get out our carving knife and make government leaner and meaner.
That's what we look to do. And next week, how about if we check up on your progress?
Hey, I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for the opportunity.
Each week, right here on mylegislator.tv. Thanks, Mike.
Hey, thank you very much. I appreciate it.